Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Soul Blazer. I took a little bit of a break, but we're back. We're going to start saving a brand new land. And it's a cave. On a snowy mountain. We're starting off with a level up. That's always good. And that's my kind of group of enemies. They were all out at once. Hey, girl. Oh, God, no, wait. Never mind. They all came out at once, and they were all easily killable. Every once in a while, when I first started this, I think I mentioned it before that a lot of these sound effects were right out of ActRaiser, which was obvious because it was the same company, but it's funny how I hear those sounds and that's all I can think about is ActRaiser. Those bats shooting those bullet things. I always remember that sound. I think that was one of the sounds that the enemies made when they were flying around the town. If you played ActRaiser, there was the action part and there was sort of the town building sim, and then they had monsters that were going around and they made that noise. Yeah, it was one of the some of those sound effects you heard a lot. Kick the crap out of some Yetis there. It seems weird to me that this game hides treasure chests, and it's just the gems, the stuff that you get right out of the enemies, but in normal quantities. You kill the enemies and you get some of the bigger gems, and they're what, 10 and 20, or 5 and 10. To open up a chest and get 40 doesn't seem like it's really dramatic. These guys are kind of a pain in the ass when they start moving around. You can't hit them right then. You have to wait until they're back together. But they won't pop up until you're close. So if you just get right above them, once they pop up, you can kill them before they start flying around, or their heads start flying around. Yeah, I think I forgot that monster lair the first time I played through. There we go. Yeah, I gotta be honest, when I first started playing this game, it was pretty decent, it wasn't bad, I've played a lot worse. But it kind of grows on you after a while. These snowballs are annoying. They'll just keep chasing you. That's what you gotta do, is sort of run them into the rocks. But it can be but they'll chase you almost indefinitely, and as far as I can tell, you can't hurt them with your weapon. You have to run them into something. See, there goes one right there. It's going to trigger when you get close to it. Not too difficult, but at first it's a little annoying because I was trying to hit it and then I was running around and nothing was happening. There's a ramp. Level up. There's a ramp that we just passed, and it'll follow you up the ramp. Yetis always remind me of Umaru from Final Fantasy VI. Especially little sprite-sized Yetis. take a few hits, but it just saves time to round up these rats and create some serious slowdown. I gotta play a game with more slowdown in it, and I'll use my low, sexy Barry White voice. That's when you want to take things nice and slow. Oh yeah. Damn snowballs. Hey, I didn't notice that I got it to stop that time. I wonder what I did differently. Maybe it was because it was technically up against another one? That was probably the easiest one I've dealt with. Whew, nice. This little stretch of treasure chest turns out to be something. You'll see it later on. It's not a big deal. That was one thing with this game. This game seemed to have a lot of stuff that kind of seemed important and then didn't. I mean, there's going to be a little cutscene later where the guy mentions that he left his treasure chests with magic armor and gem and stuff like that, but you don't hear that until well after you've collected it. And it's not even all that important. The magic armor, I think that was the armor that reduced how much it takes to cast magic, but it's not really that important. You know, something like the ice armor where you need it to cross over fiery areas without dying, that seems kind of important. You know, later on you're going to get a sword that lets you kill metal enemies. That, you know, that matters. Needing a cutscene for something random, it just seems out of place. It's not a big deal. It's not, I'm not sitting here griping about it just because it's, you know, it's driving me nuts or anything. It seems a little weird. Damn snowball. You see what I mean? How it just follows you and it just keeps causing damage. Yeah, I was gonna put the shield bracelet on, but I'm not really taking that much damage, so it was okay. Whee! Whee! Yeah, you'll get something to fix that, but for right now, it turns into the sort of puzzle scenario of where do I slide around. You know, it's funny. Everybody always hates puzzles like this. I kind of dig this. Yeah, don't get it wrong. This one takes a second, but there we go. Yeti lunged at me. It's funny, I can't think of the word Yeti. There's a couple of things. I said Omaru from Final Fantasy VI earlier. There's also a bad lip reading song of a Coldplay. It's Coldplay music video, you know, the picture, the image, but it's called Yeti. So it's bad lip reading Yeti. If you ever look that up, it's a hilarious song. And there was a terrible sci-fi movie, one of those Sci-Fi Channel original movies called Yeti. And that, ooh, man, that's top tier awful, but it, you know, so bad it's entertaining. I love watching those movies. Some of those movies are just great. I got into watching those. I've always been a fan of bad movies like that, but I got into those with, we're watching War of the Worlds 2. which was one of those movies. And there was a buddy of mine, Pedro, who called me up and let me know, hey, War of the Worlds 2 is on. You got to watch this. So we turn it on, and then for the next hour and a half, we're watching the movie, and then at the second the commercial break ends, one of us calls the other, and we were just cracking up about everything that just happened. It would come back on, and we would just hang up the phone, and then we would go right back to it. You know, it was just hilarious. But then that turned into, we didn't really do that anymore, but it was, hey, there's an awful movie on, you know. So then you start watching Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus and stuff like that, and then it turns into Mega Piranhas and was it Crocosaur or Gator X or something? Oh man, not Gatorade. Oh, it's just, some of those movies are just great. Ice Spiders, Ice Tornadoes. Was it Ice? Yeah, I think it was Ice Tornadoes, and then there was NYC Tornado Terror. I think that was one of them. That was, you know, some of those are, you know, you're supposed to turn off your brain and not sit there and focus on how awful everything looks or how bad the acting is. You know, that's supposed to be the point. Yeah, that guy doesn't actually want to discuss anything with you, by the way. Yeah, but some of those movies, so you know, some of that stuff is just great. It's a throwback to the old school Grindhouse movies, and it's funny because when I first played Resident Evil, the very first one on PlayStation, I wasn't a huge fan of it, and I think part of the problem was that everybody was selling it to me as this super awesome horror genre video game, and what I was seeing was a cheesy B-movie video game. You know, it was hokey concept and acting and quality. You know, some of the stuff that we joke about nowadays. It felt like people were trying to sell it to me as a serious game, so I had trouble accepting it that way. You know, I had trouble accepting it because all I saw was this ridiculous game. You know, I didn't really love the first Resident Evil until the remake on the GameCube. See, now we got the sticky shoes with snail goo on them that lets us walk on the ice there. Figure every once in a while I'll talk about actually the actually playing this game. But yeah, the remake of Resident Evil 1 on GameCube is, to this day, my favorite remake ever. I think that is the measure by which all remakes should be measured. You know, that is the standard, because that was an unbelievable conversion. You know, it not only graphically was it worlds better, but they redid the voice acting, so it came across like a real serious game. The challenge was increased. You know, just everything about that game was just done perfectly. And I remember after playing that thinking, if the first Resident Evil was half of what this game is, I would have understood it, and I would have followed Resident Evil every game. I would have been right on board with everything. Now, I tried a little bit of the second one, and it kind of started off a little hokey, but it did get a little more serious, but I never actually played it all the way through. I played a little bit of Code Veronica. I didn't really play a lot of 3. I'll tell you what I did play. I was 4 on the Wii, which I thought was just fantastic. That was an incredible game. And then 5, I didn't play. I think 5 was on PS3, and I still actually don't have a PS3, if you can believe it. But yeah, I didn't really follow a lot, and then the extra games and stuff like that, the side quest, you know, not side quests, but you know what I mean, just stuff like I didn't really follow it very much. I'd love to get back into it. I did play 0. I did play Resident Evil 0. That's why I would love to get into it. I'd like to actually get them on GameCube. believe it or not. I know people would probably tell me that I should get them on PlayStation, which is, you know, where some of these games started, but, you know, where the first one obviously started, but I don't know. I think I'd rather have them on GameCube. I know that the image quality is going to be a little bit better. And just, I love the GameCube. I love the GameCube controller. I think it's very comfortable, so I'd like to try it on there. Let me know in the comments if you have played on the Wii. I think they re-released the remake of Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 0. So let me know if you've played them, if they're any good, if they beat the motion controls into your head. You know, because if they do, I mean, I didn't have a problem with it with Resident Evil 4, but I'd really rather just use a controller. So just, if you can, let me know in the comments if you've played them. If you have, which one is worth it? Is it worth it to look for the Wii versions? Is it not really that much of a difference? Or is it stick with GameCube? You know, or should I play it on PlayStation? You know, or Dreamcast. Dreamcast had, I think, Resident Evil 2. I know it had Code Veronica. I think they did 3 on it also.